This was my first time cooking, and I'm from Louisiana.
Well,
It
then
came
I'm
out
sure
pretty
that was
good.
awesome.
Oh yeah, it came out pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Well, not bad then. Your first time and it came out good. I think that's commendable for sure. Because we all know
Yep.
anybody who cooks the first time doesn't always come out nearly as good as we want it to, if we're being honest. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, fair enough.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope you had a super Merry Christmas.
I did. Did you?
I did. Kind of quiet with my little ones, but miss my family back home in Colorado, although I'm sure most people around the globe are missing their loved ones right now. So, other than that, I mean, we were blessed to have each other and a really simple Christmas. And for that, I'm grateful. Definitely
Oh,
grateful.
good. Cool, cool. Oh, Jen, I'm going to be coming to your neck of the woods in a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's awesome. To Jacksonville up north?
Yep, Jacksonville. One of my students are trying to open up a kung fu school down there, so I'm gonna come down and help him find a location.
Oh, well, congratulations. Let me know. And if I'm around and I'm in town, then we'll grab a coffee and we'll talk about trading. Deal?
I would love that.
All right, awesome. Well, then it's a coffee date.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone so we don't have so much background noise today. Let's see. Mute all. Ta-da. Not going to allow you to, well, yeah, I am going to allow you to unmute yourself because I like that open dialogue. So welcome everyone to the Super Easy Beginners class. As you guys know, this is the last week of the year. So we are going to look for a couple of the, let's see, simplicity trades. We want to kind of go over simplicity as I'm sure Uncle P has got some new things that we're rolling out, in the beginning of the year. And we've got all kinds of cool things coming. So having said that, I want to revisit this for those people who are using it and having success with it and just kind of go over how simple it is. Obviously, if you have any other questions, comments, pairs you want to look at, put them in the chat. We've got Miss Donna who's going to monitor YouTube and she can kind of help answer. We'll throw any questions that gets towards me. And then, of course, anybody who's got questions on Zoom, I can see them for the most part, provided Zoom doesn't go silly on me today. So if those of you guys who don't know, my name is Jennifer Baker, and I am a coach with Super Easy. We mostly just use a couple of indicators and then a whole bunch of really incredible people who come together, we the people style, trade, look at ideas, give feedback, very open kind of dialogue, if you will. So as you guys know, we have to give our disclaimer that says don't trade what you cannot afford to lose. So sounds pretty simple, but I mean, it's written twice. We have to be very careful because there are no guarantees in trading. And even if we discuss an idea, you are still 100% responsible for every decision you make on your charts with your money. So this is all for educational purposes only. Don't risk what you can't afford to lose. Not your attorney. And I think that pretty much covers it. So nothing above and beyond that, at least not right now. So if you guys are in the Zoom and have any particular pairs you guys want to take a look at, by all means, post them in the chat. And if not, provided my VPS is pleasant to me, I am going to go ahead and minimize a couple of things just in case it's not. And I'm going to share a portion of my screen on my VPS. So bear with me as I do that. Perfect. And it did kind of come through nicely because it wasn't doing so nice earlier today in the class. So if you don't have any specific pairs that you guys are looking at, as I pull up the chat, I do have a couple of pairs that I was looking at that I found to kind of be the ones I would go to. Now, keep in mind, this is the last week of the year. The candles can literally do anything. It's the final, obviously, few days of the month to form the wicks on the monthly candles. It's also the final few days of the yearly candle, literally, so the whole, not the yearly candle, but the whole year itself. So be mindful that this could definitely give us a continuation in a direction that we don't anticipate. Not to mention volume in theory is low. We say in theory because obviously there's tons of stuff going on economically. Don't forget the huge, stimulus payment is coming out supposedly tonight. Very, very big paycheck for those of you guys who don't know. Hold on, somebody put that in the chat. So I'm waiting for $600 stimulus to come in so I can use it for education. Yeah, there you go. But that's coming out tonight, supposedly. All the stuff going on economically speaking. So the market can do all kinds of things. As New York opens tomorrow, we could see a response to that, obviously, in some of the US dollar pairs and in some of the indices. On mute all, continue. There we go. So I've got everybody remuted. And I think Miss Donna's in charge of that. Somebody in the chat put Euro GBP, Euro JPY. So we're going to start with the pairs that anybody asked about. And then I'm going to go over my list right here. So the things that I have on my simplicity watch list are GBP USD, USD JPY, odd CAD, odd NZD, Euro odd, and then NZD chef. Those are kind of my, what is that, 6 favorites. And then I also like odd USD, potentially it's not ready yet. And GBP CAD, again, not ready yet. But those are my kind of go-to pairs, at least for right now. So starting with the ones that were asked for first in the chat, let's take a look. Euro JPY, if I can find it. For the person who asked that, Jamie, can you unmute yourself? And see if they can.
Yes.
What is it you're seeing and what time frame are you looking at?
I was looking for H4 for a sell.
Okay, so let's take a look. So the 1 hour is first off not in agreement, right? So I'm going to zoom in a little bit better so we can kind of see. We still don't have a signal yet on this pair, at least not in simplicity. Well, what is your simplicity set at, or what system are you using?
It's set at 15.
Okay. Let's just double check what mine's set at before I put my foot in my mouth. Mine's a little faster than yours, and I still don't have a signal.
Well, I didn't see a signal yet. I was just wondering about it.
Just making sure. Making sure we're still on the same page. So daily time frame, we had a signal come in, although it kind of gave us an evidence dot that repainted, and we pushed up to make a higher high. So, but if I use my crosshairs, we can see we're kind of sitting at that higher high right now. So we have yet to kind of break it. But like right now, to buy it, to sell it would be timing a top. Now, the blessing to doing that means you have a almost non-existent stop loss. You're clearly in a Fibonacci box, your hot zone, as Uncle P calls it, but you'd have next to nothing for a stop loss. So that's great. But timing a top doesn't often work as a long-term strategy. So back to like actual analysis, if I go to the 4 hour, you see all this consolidation. We're still making higher highs, but barely. So it's losing steam. But as of right now, this very second, we don't have any reason to even consider selling this. So we can gamble. So looking at candle formations, you kind of have that beautiful, you guys see that big candle, inner candle. Anybody know what that formation kind of resembles if I zoom in a little bit more? These 3 candles.
An M.
Morning star.
There you go. Yeah. So this is like a continuation. So this looks like it definitely has some room to push up. It doesn't mean it will break this high, but as of right now, we definitely don't have any confirmation to sell. So that's 4 hour time frame. If we go to the 1 hour, I'm guessing we're going to see, a nice little pullback. We don't even retest the 50. We kind of kiss it a little bit, baby bit, but we still have nothing. So not ready, at least not for my analysis, not on these bigger time frames, at least. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so either consider staying out of this until it's ready, or if you're looking to time a top, go to a really tiny, small time frame, wait until you stop getting bullish candles. You'd have a really tight stop loss, and you can take a gamble trade, but I would never take a trade like that. Or more accurately, I stopped taking trades like that when I lost enough to tell me I probably shouldn't take trades like that. So that was my experience, at least. But going on to the next pair. So France, if I'm saying your name right, can you unmute yourself? You asked about Euro odd. Let's see.
Hey, Jenny, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How about you?
All right. Thanks for asking. I was looking at the Euro odd on the 15 minutes. It's showing a sell, which on the 4 hour as well, it's showing a possible sell as well. But said I just wanted to, see what was your input on that. Whatnot.
So Euro odd 15-minute time frame. Let's take a look.
I'm using the simplicity system as well.
So what are your settings right now?
Give me one moment.
it just helps to make sure we're kind of on the same page. Because if one of us is using something really, really fast for like a slow time frame versus somebody using something really, really slow for like the smaller time frame, we're going to get really conflicting information. So
I hear you on that. Okay, my trend period is set on 20.
On 20. So you still have a sell signal. You don't have this buy signal then yet.
Say it again now?
You still have only the sell signal. You don't have the buy signal yet then, right?
No, not yet.
Are you doing like a multiple time frame analysis or single time frame analysis?
Yeah, multiple time frame. Multiple time frame. Just everything is lining up with the 15 minutes for me on the multiple time frame.
Okay. So you have yours set to a little bit slower than what mine is set to. So on the smaller time frame, I'm sure that's awesome. So like on this small time frame, that's phenomenal, right? But on the bigger time frame, it's going to be way, way late. So what I'm seeing, and I can't go off of what you're seeing. So let's just kind of do a top-down analysis together, if you will, and then see what we decide from there. Fair enough?
Okay,
So,
not a problem.
Keep in mind, my settings are a little higher than yours. So we have to kind of consider that too. So if I go to edit, you'll see that my settings on the trend period are currently set to 10. That's about as not going to 20, at least not on the 4-hour time frame. So I'll close this. And I think your mic has some background noise. So I muted you. And then when you go to speak again, you can unmute yourself. But just to protect the integrity of the call, I muted you for a second. And then when you have to talk, you can unmute. So, but 4-hour time frame, this is what I'm seeing on Euro Odd is a 4-hour time frame. We kind of, obviously we're pushing down. We have a buy signal. It does fail. So we have an evidence dot that says that it failed. We pushed up enough to break and make a higher high, but of course can continue down in the sell direction. So we kind of made this spring, if you will, this candle here. I can zoom in if you really need, but you can see it popped down just enough to kind of collect all those orders, and it kind of, popped straight back up. So now you have this almost perfect double bottom forming, if you will, in the hot zone, as Uncle P would call it. And this would be a buy signal. So the buy signal is still valid because we have yet to break or make a lower low. So this telling us to buy. Now, mind you, my settings are a little different than yours. So this is in no way to contradict. So if you're having success, as in you're profitable and withdrawing, then you should stick with the 20. But I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing with these settings. So with these settings, set at 10, a little faster, which has its ups and downs. Obviously, the faster it is, the more it repaints. Not repaints, but gives you an evidence dot, right? So I'm seeing 4-hour time frame. We definitely have a buy potentially setting up. And now if I zoom in on the candles, we have this beautiful kind of double bottom formation possibly forming, which would make that W, right? We have yet to kind of break and let me draw a trend line to show you. We have yet to break this area. I mean, we still would need to kind of break that to be one to take that signal, but we're kind of playing around the 50, right? We haven't yet broken this structure right here, but we're in this zone. This zone right here would it be considered the buy box, if you will, according to, the Fibonacci and the way this indicator is set up. So in this box, at least, we're looking for a buy, and that's the 4-hour time zone. So if we do break out of this and we kind of are closing above that 50, I'm looking for this to go up. And if I took an entry early enough, my stop loss would be, let's just say I take it kind of in and around this break of structure, 4-hour time frame. Stop loss is a pretty big, it's 100 pips. But my potential, okay, even if I'm doing kind of like a take profit 1 and take profit 2, the first one is about 120 pips. And my next one would be all the way up to about 270-ish pips when I measured before I got on the call. So that's, close to a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So that's what I'm seeing. And the other part about that is the 1 hour actually is kind of telling me a comparable story. So zoom out, we're kind of made that W formation, which we just saw in the higher time frame. We're waiting to break this structure. If you wanted to wait for the trend line kind of thing, you could also argue that this was the break, okay? But we weren't here at this point. We're here and now. So now I'm looking for it to break here. We've got a nice pullback. So think about it this way, as a breakout. These are momentum candles, big candles. So big candles pull back, Now we're waiting for the breakout. So that's how I'm personally seeing Euro odd, but I'm also analyzing it from a higher time frame. So I would be kind of looking for the potential buy setup personally. Like on this, even if I change my settings, I don't know that I would really agree with the sell because Euro odd daily. Now, mind you, we're at the last few days of the year, the monthly candle, all that other good stuff. But we have a historical, this is a daily time frame. This is back in June, and we have yet to kind of break this zone since June. So for the last 6 months, we haven't broke this zone yet. We're just kind of hanging out here. So kind of high likelihood of a potential pullback. It doesn't mean it's going to reverse forever, but just enough to, safely get your 50 pips and protect it at 50 pips. And then, see if you get more, kind of is how I would play that one if I were to take that trade.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for explaining that for me. And yeah, I actually adjusted my settings as well. Just to test it out a bit and see how it's going. I'm taking advice from a person with a lot more experience than myself. So, I appreciate that.
You are welcome, and thank you for coming out and stepping out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go through some other pairs if there's no other specific questions on specific pairs or questions in terms of simplicity or really any, like super easy, super beginner, something off the wall MT4 you can't figure out. I can promise you that 99 will probably 100% of us on this call at one point got on this platform and thought there was no way possible we would ever figure out how to do some of the stuff on this platform because Lord knows it's not that user friendly. So keep in mind that unlike the morning calls, these are meant to be as simple and as easy as possible. So there is no question too big, too small, too much of a, hey, how do I figure out a lot size? Or, hey, what do I do about this? Or how do I compound? Or what do I do about, this topic or that topic or when to take a trade? There are no questions too big or small. So please do keep that in mind. If you guys have them, put them in the chat. Way better than trying to DM on Telegram. DM gets overran. And as much as some of us would love to, we can't get to that many messages in a day. And then sometimes as much as we love to, we can't even get to the bottom when we try to kind of really honor it. So I know Uncle P doesn't take messages that way either. Mike, I will look at gold. What are you seeing? I actually want to talk about gold. But first you got to tell me what you're seeing. Can you unmute yourself? Maybe.
Yeah, it seems like my computer keeps freezing. Okay.
That's okay. What time frame are you looking at? What are you seeing? What are you anticipating to happen?
I'm looking at the 15-minute.
Okay. With what system or what strategy?
Something.
Okay. 15 minutes. So what are you waiting on it to happen? Or what settings also, obviously?
I was thinking that it would push back down and then go. That's what I was. And I do still see the buy on the 15-minute. I had a feeling it would push back down first and then go up. It looked like a square here, like he talks about. However, it is in my buy zone. It would be in my buy zone if it pushes back down and retests back down one more time and it go up. So I was looking at.
So simplicity aside, this is a pair I've been kind of trading a little bit more often. Again, it was moving pretty smoothly. Obviously, it's choppy, now, but you guys can see this one gapped, and it kind of did fill that gap. I kind of considered it already filled, so I'll zoom in to get a clearer picture on that. It did kind of gap. It was present on more than one broker. I had already kind of counted it as filled, in these candles. It didn't all the way close, but it was closed enough for me because it hit this previous structure. Needless to say, we came down, kind of finished that close, but the market gapped up. Simplicity aside, I see the potential for the buy. Now, granted, we don't have any confirmation to take that yet. We're in consolidation, and every one of these little pop outs are just, the market makers fooling with us. It could be that there's not enough volume. There's not enough money moving this instrument this week. So it could just really screw around all week long and give us nothing. And then, of course, on the flip side of that, we could get the direction we really want and miss it. So this is just such an unstable thing. I really want to catch it because I think my analysis is on point. But having said that, my setting is a 10, 15-minute time frame. So that's a little fast for the 15-minute time frame. Just to be fair, our most recent signal was a buy. We did kind of come back down. We failed to make a lower low, and we're consolidating. We're really close to this buy box. So if we had to choose based off of Fibonacci and how this indicator is set up, we would be closer to the buy box than the sell box. So this is breaking it down super elementary, as simple as possible, but we're still closer to the buy to say this has room to push up. But again, we gapped up, we stayed in the zone, we sprung out again. And now we're looking like we could potentially spring out, but this is a huge consolidation box. If you can imagine, if I drew a box right here, we don't want to get stuck trading in this zone. We need a clear breakout and a retest. So this would have been considered a breakout if it retested and failed to kind of continue down, but it didn't. It came back into the zone. This could even, this wouldn't be considered a breakout because of all the structure back here. But needless to say, we don't have a breakout yet. So this is a 15-minute time frame. Let's go up a time frame, get maybe it's not going to get any clearer, I know, because I've looked at this pair. But 30-minute time frame, you've got this kind of almost double, top forming, not quite, really crooked, really ugly to look at, but it's there nonetheless. A more recent one here. We're in the middle, we're just consolidating. So we wouldn't have that confirmed reason to sell off. Again, the market makers have a good reason to kind of keep this still. Hour time frame, I'm just kind of bouncing around seeing what we see. Again, possible double top. So this pair has a lot of potential, both sides. But if we look at this from a breakout, retest in this zone, push back up, failed to make a higher high, back in the zone. So we're back in the zone from back here. If I use my crosshairs, I know my mouse is moving like a crazy person, but we're back in this zone from kind of just testing this area. So we don't have, it's just not as clear as we want it to be. And on a huge time frame, which most people aren't trading this necessarily as a swing trade, but you have this beautiful sell-off, push back up, back into the zone, retest, push back up, kind of mild retest, and now you're just hanging out. But if you notice, where you're hanging out is previous structure. So it's kind of in this area that you got to pick and choose. It's not a safe trade to take, at least not right now with this right here. So you zoom in. If you see this many candles that are just not going anywhere, it's not a good trade to take. That's a lot of candles. So that's that's 90 candles, right, of doing nothing, just sitting still. So this is kind of, I'm staying out until I get a clear direction. And I really wanted it to buy personally, because I still see the potential. But if we don't get this huge buy for it to continue to drop, or the nice drop for it to continue to buy, we're just in this zone. So that's what I'm seeing, at least. 5-minute time frame, we've got actually a sell signal, but we are just staying in the zone. It hasn't went anywhere since we got the signal. We got the signal on this candle. We're still not making lower lows. We're just hanging there. In fact, we pushed up. So that's kind of it. If you see all that consolidation, that's a good reason not to get stuck in this trade. Do you see anything different than that, Mike?
Oh no, I was just thinking that most definitely like you were saying, and I was saying before, I was expecting it to come back down a little bit before it actually pushes up the resistance and breaks into a new structure. Doesn't actually work out.
Because why?
You said because why?
Yeah.
Why
do you think it can come back down?
To at least is that the 50 right there? The yellow?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, at least come back down and touch the 50 or the yellow or the back to the buy box or anywhere in this area. It's an area, and then come up, then shoot up. That's what I was saying.
I'm sorry, I fibbed to you. My white line is my 50. This is a 250. I fibbed. I'm sorry. Yeah, I see it. I don't see anything clear enough for us to say, hey, this is a trade that I would personally take or advise anybody else to take. It's just choppy and messy. We don't want to play with that. So, but thank you for asking. This is a sponge on continuation pattern. That's a sponge on continuation pattern. Is that supposed to be SpongeBob, Derek? SpongeBob continuation pattern?
Yeah, that's my fault. It's just, man, it's just this phone service, man. But SpongeBob continuation, because it's just like you say, like you was telling my colleague, it's just ranging. Sometimes it could continue, it could shoot back up, but you don't know, and then you seeing all them spikes and stuff, like you say. It's like like you say, it's all choppy and scratchy. I call that my Brooke Valentine girl fight. So you don't want to.
Okay, fair enough. So SpongeBob continuation pattern, that's a thing. Is that a thing that I'm not clear?
I think it is, because it's ranging. Look at it. You
Okay.
you can even look. Put your trend line up and down right there where the resistance at, and then at the bottom it's right there. You can make two lines and it show it's ranging. Those spikes don't mean nothing.
Okay. Yeah, the spikes are foolery. I'm gonna have to ask Uncle Pete to draw me a SpongeBob cartoon so I can see it too, and I'll even tape it on my office wall. It'll be like right next to my nephew's picture.
He tripped out one time. He was like, "What kind of pattern?" When I first learned it, he said, "SpongeBob." I told him, I said, "You mean a SpongeBob and Patrick walking together, hand to hand?" He started laughing.
I bet he did. His laugh is absolutely infectious. So yeah. I want to see it though. I'm gonna need you guys to draw it so I know what it looks like, because clearly I don't know the pattern. I'm not schooled in that area. So
yeah, it's just nothing like what you're saying. You know, Jenny, you a good teacher, just breaking it down. It's just a continuation. It's ranging, whatever you call it, because that's what it is. It's just going sideways. Like Egypt is just going. You don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Well, then I'll know what to call it from now on. At least there we go. So thank you. I super appreciate that. I'm gonna talk to Uncle Pete. He'll laugh at me. I promise he will. But okay, so what simplicity settings? Let's check my chat real quick. Questions. Oh, Andrew, I think, had his hand raised, but I think he realized we don't raise a lot of hands, at least not in my class. So if you got a question, guy, you can hit unmute. You have all the control and freedom over yourself. So come on out. Otherwise, I can't see your hand anymore. So that's up to you. You got to do that, not me. Oh, there's your hand. I can ask you to unmute yourself, or you can unmute yourself. You have the freedom and the control. There you go. Maybe try again. I think I messed it up. So I'm going to ask you to unmute. There you are. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm terrific. And yourself?
Fantastic. Super blessed. How can I help you?
All right. I had a quick question regarding the New Zealand dollar and Japan yen. And I was looking at a possible 415 setup there, and I just wanted a second eye on it.
So NZD USD. Okay, let's take a look.
NZD JPY.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you said NZD US dollar and NZD JPY. Okay, so here
yes,
we go.
ma'am.
Are you at dinner, Andrew?
I'm currently, I'm just in the store real quick, and then I'm headed back home.
Gotcha. Okay, mute yourself and then mute yourself real quick, and I'll talk about NZD JPY for you, but so we can hear, because I can hear all that background noise, which means everyone else can hear it too. Okay, sorry about that. But while you're in the store, let's see if I can't break down NZD JPY. I thought you said NZD US dollar as well, but if I'm mistaken, that's okay. So let's start with NZD JPY. What time frame were you looking at? I didn't get a chance to ask, but I'm pretty sure you said 4:15. So I'm going to start with the 4 hours, because we're going to look at the big picture and see what we're seeing. We're in the sell box, right? So we're at the kind of top. Granted, New Zealand and AUD have been, nuts all, what feels like all the last forever. That's exaggerating, obviously, but it has been just up on odd NZD, for example. So keep in mind how much strength that those currencies have right now in terms of how much volume they're producing. So if you notice, their average daily range is higher, whereas most pairs, their average daily ranges are not currently higher, but this one is, well, this is a bad example, of course, go figure, but it's definitely higher than it was 4 weeks ago. So we have more money in this market than there was versus less, as we kind of anticipate this time of year. So keep that in mind in terms of when you're deciding what momentum, because that money is momentum, right? So right now you're looking at a 415. I'm guessing you're looking for it to, I don't know, sell or buy, because right now we're in the sell box, but we're at the top of it. We definitely have a buy signal, but we're at the top of the sell zone. So let me zone out a little bit, kind of almost forming a potential head and shoulders. A little hard to see with the, no head and shoulders. I fibbed, but we did make a higher high, have a nice pull down. We made a lower low, came back up. That's already invalidated because we're pushing up again. So let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame and see. Now, I'm not going to say I'm super well versed in the 415 strategy, but 15-minute time frame, NZD JPY, we're in the sell box. So we've kind of came back up. The blessing of taking this, if we wanted to take this trade, or if you wanted to take this trade, is, again, going off the principle of overbought, oversold, going off of the principle of, a tight stop loss. But right now, you're talking about selling a pair which is currently buying. So it's massively buying on the 4-hour time frame. It's still buying on the 15-minute time frame. So for me, now keep in mind, this is in no way meant to be in conflict with other strategies you learn, or whatever the 4-hour, 15-minute strategy is, or what other thing people teach you. This is just how I see the chart to help you understand and help you grow in a way so you can see it with your own 2 eyes, to the best of your ability. So big disclaimer aside, I don't want to sell a pair that's buying. I'll say that one more time. I don't want to sell a pair that's buying. This pair is buying. So if you decided to take this trade, to me, this is like I'm gambling. This is, here, let's put on our RSI. I'll keep it at my natural setting of 10. I kind of always use 10. That's like the people who say, oh my gosh, RSI is at 70. We have possible divergence. It's at the top. We have to sell right now. And then they get their butt handed to them because there is no such thing as, timing a top, timing a bottom. This thing can go up until the moon and we have no control over that. So the way I trade is I want confirmation to sell. So for me, I don't have any confirmation to sell, at least not on this strategy or really any of my strategies at this time. So we're bouncing off the 70. Even the RSI is currently pointing up. So even that's telling us we still got some momentum. Last few candles on this chart are buy. We're at structure, a baby amount of structure, but I don't have a reason to sell it yet, personally. This is a sell signal, gives you a tighter entry, but even from here, so if I were to reverse engineer what I do, so sometimes we come to the chart and maybe we missed a signal. Even if I wanted to reverse engineer if I would have taken this signal, is this a better price? My answer would still be no. And here's why. I got the signal here. So I'll draw a line, right? Oopsie. I'll draw a line here. We have yet to continue in that direction. So the next candle doesn't continue. The next 5 or 6 candles don't continue. So even if I reverse engineer the strategy that I would have taken this signal on, as of what I currently see on the chart, I still wouldn't take this trade at a quote unquote better price. Now, there are traders who do trade that way. Some of them have a lot of success, maybe more so than myself. I just don't sell pairs that are buying, and I do my best not to buy pairs that are selling. That's my prerogative. So I hope that helps you see things a little bit in a hopefully good way.
Yeah, that helps a lot. And I was looking at it as it had touched the top of the 4-hour initially. I had actually took a sale right before I received the signal, and I made about 15 pips off of it. But I had thought as it broke, initially it was going to continue to go down, but of course it rejected and retested and came back up. So I pulled out, you know, I cut the trade. I made, like I said, about 15 pips, but I just wanted a second look at it.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for asking, because if nothing else, we get to grow and learn together. And if you caught some and you were able to protect it, then that's awesome. But I don't want to get caught in a trade that's still buying. Now, some people see stuff like this, and I totally comprehend their thought process that here's our breakout. I want the tightest possible entry for the sell and continuation. When you have more confirmation, that's not a bad way to be. But this isn't in and of itself. This isn't even a strong enough breakout for us to say, cool, huge impulse. Sorry, that's my Apple computer. But huge impulse breakout. We'll wait for a nice little retest of this zone, and then we're going to sell it again. This isn't even that. This is just, you know, your kind of everyday push, pump, push, pump. Okay, now we continue. So yeah, even this candle as we speak is pushing up. It's just pushing up, up, up. So that's how I'm seeing it. I would say not a trade I'm looking at for today, or at least not yet. So it has no confirmation for me. So, but thank you for asking. And I'll let you get back to the store because you got some background noise. It sounds like you're at Applebee's or something. So, but thank you for coming out. Okay.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
Jen,
Donna, I can hear you.
can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I didn't know if you answered Martin's question in YouTube yet.
What was his question? Hold on, let me go to it. I'm sorry.
Okay. It is okay.
USD CAD, USD CAD on the 4 hour.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. USD CAD on the 4 hour. We'll do that one next, and then we'll go through the other ones in the chat too. Thank you, Donna. I appreciate you. Okay, so USD CAD, I didn't read exactly where you're at. I know you said 4 hours, so we're going to just take a look at this from the bigger time frame and kind of see where we're at together. So 4 hour time frame. Actually, I do want to read what you said. Sorry, I fibbed. So can you please take a look at USD CAD? I'm in on the 4 hour, and I've been holding it for a week, and this trade is still valid. Somebody's got some background noise. Can you mute yourself if you're not talking, please? So it doesn't say if I took a 15-minute as well. Martin, so are you selling or buying, and what are your settings? I know it's going to take a little bit of time on YouTube for you to get that information, but 4 hour time frame, I guess this could be the week. I mean, that's 12/21, which was last week. So you're kind of back to, we're close to your original entry. If you took a buy, close to it, 15-minute time frame. Hold on, I'm just trying to see what you see, give or take the settings you're using, obviously. So 15-minute time frame, new entry, although we're pushing down again. So, okay, so first things first, if we break this low, you should be getting out of the trade. And when I say break this low, I mean giving it a little bit of room for like the crazy market makers and like the pumping of spread and a little bit of, you know, debauchery, if you will. But a little bit above this, if we break that area, the trade is no longer valid, at least on this time frame. So keep that in mind and see kind of that you're at least being safe, because this candle is currently pushing down. So buy signal here, 15-minute time frame. Next candles do start moving in the right direction. They only move a total of 10 pips. Keep in mind, this is not an extraordinarily fast mover. So it's, small in comparison to most things or many things. So 4 hour time frame, I'm going to zoom out and we're going to take a look at what we see. Overall, this pair is definitely in a huge sell. I mean, has been for a while. I'm going to go to a slightly higher time frame to get a bigger picture. Instant buy. What is that? Huge drop. Made a lower low. We've made a lower low compared to August. But overall, this is a seller's market. So any buys we take are counter trend trades, first and foremost. This is a massive trending market. Not the same as just taking a trade all willy-nilly, like, hey, we get a signal. It has enough room to push up or down for a while. I mean, this is massively trending and the trend is down. So let's keep that in mind when we take this analysis. keep in mind that the simplicity system itself is a reversal based system. So it's a counter trend or reversal based system. So we are currently trending. So to take a counter trend trade or a reversal at this time may or may not be super safe. Again, we're in the last 2 days of our calendar year. Holidays, bank nonsense, USD drama up galore with COVID, actually international drama with COVID, USD drama with the stimulus and the presidential stuff. So all of that stuff aside, we have the rest of the December candle, then the beginning of the January candle for this to maybe continue and give us a strong wick before it reverses. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a potential, drop before we do get any continuation, which has kind of already happened a handful of times from what I can see. We're getting a buy signal. It failed. We got a sell signal that should not have failed because it technically was successful. Let's see. Sell signal. Successful. This was successful. Buy here, bought here. That's a huge pushback. So looking at, I know this is kind of ugly and kind of messy because it's zoomed out, but done so with intention. Huge push. So this hasn't really been retested. But if we measure this move, okay, this was approximately 460-ish pips. It's already retested, close to half of that. And it retested previous structure. So if you draw your crosshairs and you say, when we started to push back up, so when we did get the signal, now that we've got a ugly view, let's zoom in and get a clearer view. Okay, I know it's a lot of moving on our chart. I got to go out one more to hopefully get this other side. This is where price stopped before. Notice we came up and we kind of perfectly tested that area. So now for this to continue to push down, that's anybody's guess. Anybody's guess. But that's just kind of looking at this from the big picture. So now to continue looking at it, this is an impulse move. This is not a slow kind of pullback move. And you can look at the difference in the candles here on this pullback, and we'll go back and look at the other ones. So this is the kind of instant move we want to see, which again could be the economic, political stuff we have going on. But to come back down, retest that, and now to continue, it's possible. USD CAD is also not on my list. Go figure. I don't love it. So we have an inside candle. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud as I'm looking at this, Martin, so bear with me. 260-ish pips. Probably already retested about the 61.8. So now to continue. So it has the potential to keep going up. So if you're in this trade already, I'm guessing if you got in dead on time, I'm not sure where you got in or what price you got in, but that's this candle. So dead on time would be in and around here. You are just marginally at a loss, give or take. I mean, depending on where you got in, this is a whole 4-hour candle. I'm not sure when this painted. So if you got in at the end of this candle, which is, the market open, if you will, very possible, you're in a really small amount of drawdown. So the 4-hour time frame requires you to take this trade and let it play out. We all know that can sometimes mean I make a ton of money today, but it also can sometimes mean I sit on this trade for like a week or days, multiple days. And in this case, with the holidays and everything, I wouldn't be surprised that it either hung out for a little while or, picked a direction and just skyrocketed. So you have to decide that you trust your analysis enough to stay in this trade and let it play out. You can also decide that we broke out. We're retesting this area to the left. So you're still technically, you're within reason to hold your buy if that's in fact what you were doing is buying. Until you make a lower low, your trade is still valid. Now, granted, 4-hour time frame, we did break below this 50. And for me, that does mean something. But keep in mind on the 4-hour time frame, the whole point of swing trading is you're not necessarily, at least not to me. Some people do this better, I'm sure more effectively in many ways, but also more stress in many ways, trying to time that perfect entry with no stop loss versus taking a 4-hour trade and saying, I can accept the peace that this brings me, so I can accept the risk that I'm taking. I know that this needs room to play and fool around before it decides to give me my direction. So I see what you saw as a potential setup. but now I want to go back and look at the previous time it bought to see if it shot up in the same direction. This did. That was definitely an impulse move. Again, definitely an impulse move before it continued. So the buys seem to be pretty heavy, but that could just be this time, the pair itself, this time of year, news, Canadian stuff, all kinds of stuff. So current candles pushing down. This, you have a reason. If you're using simplicity anywhere near these settings, you have a reason to hold this trade and to trust it. You're still in the buy box. You still have a reason to say, hey, I'm going to take this. I'm going to trust it. A 15-minute time frame currently agrees. Let's see. You're not making lower lows. So if you were, for example, to take an entry here, and I, again, reversed engineered my thought process, I would still say this is a good entry and I would consider taking this trade based off of my rules. But I would definitely want the 1 hour to be in agreement, and the 1 hour is currently not in agreement. So when I use the triple arrow system successfully, and when I was kind of stacking 4 trades, not the most effectively, but I did it to the best of my ability at the time, which was this, systematic lot size and scale out with trailing stops. And I would take 4 entries on each trade. The thing I found to be the most successful was when the 1 hour and the 4 hour kind of lined up. And I legit ignored everything else, because when I tried to get a lot of time frames to line up, most of the time, all that meant was that the entire market was doing the exact opposite. So if every time frame or close to was telling me to sell, what that was telling me was the entire market is buying. And then, of course, if I was trying to get everything to line up, it's a fool's errand, because by the time the 5, 15, 30 and everything lines up, it's typically a bit of a mess. So I would definitely want to see a buy signal on the 1 hour. So right now I don't see one. I did back here, which again, this would have worked out just fine. 1 hour. And there was a sell signal with that too, give or take, or you got the sell signal somewhere in here. So even if you got in super late, worst case scenario, could you have gotten your pips? Yeah, you got your pips. That's 160. If you're protecting after 50, you've got your pips, and you made your day, and you made it without a whole bunch of drawdown, some drawdown, but not a bunch. You did it pretty safely. So I'm going to give you just a second to let YouTube catch up on the lag to see if that answered your question. But that's kind of what I'm seeing on this pair. If you're in, you can't unbe in. You can cut your losses, but if you cut your loss now or cut bait now, if you cut bait every time you get a little scared and get in your feels, you're going to lose an awful lot of money, because the market is going to just tear you up with every push, pull, and turn. But if you can find the strength to say, hey, until my analysis is officially invalid, I'm going to trust my trade, because that's where the numbers come in. That's where you get this batch of trades that say 50 trades. Yeah, I lost, 5 or 6 of them, but I was successful at this many. This many was break even. And then the other, 40 of them were massively profitable. You'll never get that level if you cut bait every time things get a little scary. So that's what I'm seeing personally. I wouldn't take the trade myself to finalize my answer, because my 4 hour, my 1 hour don't line up. So that's why I'm not saying, for me, this is a trade I want to enter right now based off of the way I trade. So now I'm going to go to YouTube and see. The exact same as yours, configured to be like yours. Awesome, Martin. See, that's awesome. It's good colors too, biblical colors. The second, I was having a picnic. How do I know that the move or the impulse or a regular move? You can tell by the momentum and the speed of the move. So like if it's a lot of full-bodied candles in one direction, that's a breakout. If it's just, a couple of bullish, couple of bearish, couple of bullish, couple of bearish, that's your typical market fluctuation. That's just general price action. That's general price movement, buyers and sellers coming in and out of the market. But when you get an impulse move, it's usually heavy and fast, meaning what that looks like on a chart is full-bodied, pretty big candles. So, but that's what I'm seeing. So I am going to go to another pair. I don't usually look at the 4 hour and 15, because I feel like they're a little bit too diverse for the way I want to see the market. But again, if you're having success to the point of withdrawing, then please do continue to use that. If you're profitable with the strategy that you're using, Definitely piggyback and expand your knowledge, but don't go chasing everybody else's tips and tricks if you are withdrawing. So real quick, somebody asked about GBP, JPY, I think. So I want to go to that, and then I will get to the other questions, and we will call it a night. Bear with me. Okay. GBP, JPY, gotcha. 1 hour time frame, we've got to sell. I'm going to the 4 hour first because I want to see the bigger picture. Again, they don't line up, so this trade is 100% off of my radar. So I don't have a sell signal currently, at least not with this system. So I'm not looking to sell this system with this strategy, this pair with this strategy for these reasons. My 4 hour and my 1 hour do not line up. So technically I'm in the sell box, which we know is just Fibonacci, right? So that's just a Fibonacci zone, as if we had the full on here. Our most recent signal was a buy. We did not make a lower low. We definitely gapped up, gapped down, pushed, got a nice reversal kind of evening star there. Beautiful, perfect pattern off the top of that box. If you guys, at least that gives you a reason to sell. That candle formation is a reason to time a top. With a few other pieces of evidence, that at least makes sense. But otherwise, entering now, kind of a break in the box, retesting. I don't personally, with this strategy, have a reason to sell. So 1 hour time frame, you got to sell. We broke out, kind of retesting, pushing around the 50. No, I don't prefer. It's too choppy and you're too much in the zone for me to want to take this trade. So we broke above, we're back at this level where it stalled before, and you're just kind of hanging out here. So huge break, came back to it. Huge break, came back to it, broke, came back to it, and it's hanging out. We're just hanging out here. And that's really, it's super evident on the 4 hour time frame of how choppy this is. So we don't want to get stuck in ugly markets. We want to just do our best to find the best possible setups, diversify our options. So let's not take all of the GBP pairs or all of the USD pairs, find a few different ones. So don't be over leveraged per currency. So 1 euro pair, 1 USD pair, 1 odd and whatever, pick your few for the day, or the couple of days, let them play out. And sometimes they take forever, especially on the higher time frames. Sometimes you get lucky and they all close like in 24 hours, but there's no way to know that. So that's what I'm seeing on GBP, JPY. I already went over NZD, JPY. And now to answer some of the other questions. So what simplicity settings do you recommend for the 15 and 30? Jamie, I don't trade the 15 and 30 with simplicity, but my understanding is that many people use a slightly higher setting on simplicity for the lower time frames and a slightly lower simplicity setting on a higher time frame. So if you're on the 15 and 30, I would definitely go higher. So I'd be thinking anywhere along the lines of the trend set at 15 or possibly 20. So you're kind of getting that slower, more confirmed entry. So somewhere in there, I would probably ask that in Uncle P's class because he does look at the 15 on simplicity, whereas I don't. So his advice would probably be better than mine. And then SpongeBob, la la la. We could sing that song. And then you said, can you show an example of the 4 hour and 1 hour lining up? Absolutely, I can. So let's start with GBP USD. GBP USD 4 hour time frame. As you guys can see, we have a sell signal. So we're in the sell box, double top formation. Smaller time frame analysis, this is buying, definitely buying. But if I were to kind of look at this as if I had caught this on the right time, which we all know I didn't. So I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at it tonight. So we got that signal on this candle, right? We're failing to kind of make a lower low, but this next candle did push below. So since I had to learn to hold myself accountable, because it's really easy to talk and talk, but if you can't duplicate what you're saying, then it's not valid. So in order to duplicate what I'm saying, this next candle did make a lower low. So this candle is where we got our signal, right? So if my next candle is going in the same direction, I'm considering that I would take that trade. So any of these decisions I make, coming after, I'm keeping that in mind when I look at this signal that I got from this indicator and this strategy. And I use the same kind of entry principle on other strategies I use as well. So just to verify, we got this signal. My next candle did go in the right direction. So for example, if I had seen it here, 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 I would consider these better entries for a trade that I would have taken if I saw it. So now you can kind of see where I'm coming from so far. So zooming out, you're in the sell box. You definitely have some reason. Smaller time frame analysis. I was looking for this to buy. It fooled around. It is currently buying on the tiny time frames, but we're talking about a swing trade right now, not a scalp. So swing trade analysis is double top formation, beautiful. In the sell box, beautiful. Sell signal, beautiful. And it continued in the right direction, beautiful. So all that aside, let's go down to the next smaller time frame. You'll also notice we get this beautiful kind of sell formation. And again, right now you're pushing back up. So not a perfect time to enter because we're buying. I get that. But if, for example, you saw this trade, we get the sell signal on, give or take, this candle, you'd be waiting for the next candle or the next couple of candles to confirm the direction of your move. And we do get this impulse candle. So now we're pushing up. We're going to let that finish. So any decision I make now, I would either wait for this to continue, finish buying on the tiny time frame, and then I take my sell. Okay. Or of course you can be a little bit looser with your decision, and keep in mind, it is a looser decision. You can say, hey, I'm going to check back on this in an hour and see what the candle's doing. I'm going to place a sell stop, if price reverses and continues in the right direction. So you can decide to enter market entry, sell stop if price continues to go, or sell limit if price comes up here and you're looking for it, a tighter stop loss. So you have multiple options. My personal choice would be I'd have a very medium-sized sell stop, okay, in and around the break of this Fibonacci, hot box, and I'd go to the smaller time frame and wait for myself to get a sell signal. But this trade that I got a sell signal on, I would be taking it based off of the entire 4-hour kind of analysis. So that means my stop loss would be in and around up here, but slightly above, giving myself room for, the markets to fool around a little bit. My take profit would be no less than, 1-to-1, very, very, very bare minimum, or it'd be like 2-to-1, 3-to-1, et cetera, so forth. So where price is currently at, this is a GBP pair, so it moves kind of fast. Whoopsie. Sorry, guys. It's the Apple mouse. It won't stop. Okay, try this again. So that's 90 pips. We'll just round it up and say 100 pips of a stop loss. So my first take profit is in around, it's definitely breaking here. So that's 110 pips. We'll round down. I'd be looking for it to come all the way down even in here. So it's about, what is that? 1 to 2.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio. And keep in mind, anywhere above 50 pips, I'm either protecting or closing a portion of my trade. So no matter what, anything in around 50 pips, depending on the ADR of that pair, I am definitely protecting or closing some of my trade. So I don't care if this goes 500 pips. I don't care if it goes 5,000. I don't care if it goes 55. I need to know that I'm safe, on the 1 hour, 4 hour time frame at a set number of pips. Because when I compound, I don't need much more than that. And anything excess of what I'm looking for is a little thank you bonus and a little bit of a cushion for times that I'm wrong. It's not where the bulk of my profit or my compounding is made. So that's an example. And then USD JPY is an example. So the examples currently are GBP USD, USD JPY, odd CAD, odd NZD, Euro odd, and NZD chef. So I wouldn't take every one of these trades. I would pick and choose the best ones based off of news and based off of kind of market structure and sentiment. And I don't want to be in too many of the same currency. So I would pick the best, to the best of my ability of each currency. So 1 hour time frame, keep in mind, we've been on for the hour. So this has already made a nice move without us, go figure. But 1 hour time frame, you're kind of below the box. So I'm going to zoom out, but you are getting a sell signal. Huge sell off. We retested exactly what we want to see. And now you're getting the sell signal and you are continuing. So you're going the right direction. So go to the 4 hour. Ooh, I fibbed. I'm sorry. That shouldn't have been on my list. But I thought it was on the list. I wrote it down. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was another JBPY pair. But needless to say, I did write it down on my little sticky note and I'm wrong. So this is not a 1 hour, 4 hour confirmation. There is another pair. I don't know if it was NZD, which one it was, but I'm going to continue and skip that one. So odd CAD 1 hour. Before I analyze that, let's go to the 4 hour. Minimize. So, okay, well, I did look at this right before class and I didn't change the settings. I promise I did not change the settings. So 1 hour saying sell, we're in the sell box. 4 hours not saying sell. 4 hours saying it was a buy. Odd NZD. Now I'm looking because now I'm curious. It's Melissa. I wrote them on the wrong side of the page. Odd NZD 1 hour, 4 hour. That one is confirmed. And Euro odd was confirmed. We already went over that one. That one was on my list. And NZD chef. But some of them weren't confirmed yet. So I might have read them on the wrong side of the page. Euro odd is saying buy on the 4 hour and the 1 hour are both saying buy. So that was one of them. And NZD JPY. I was kind of scribbling this down on the phone with my girlfriend, well, my friend. So maybe I wrote it on the wrong side before we jumped on class, because these are the pairs that I would be watching based off of this strategy. So NZD, chef, 4 hour and 1 hour. So these are some examples. So some of them are not ready yet or just not confirmed. But see, NZD chef, I don't trade a lot of chef pairs. As you can see, it's really slow. But those are the pairs altogether that I'm most looking at according to this. Not all of them are ready. And those were GBP USD, odd USD, odd CAD, odd NZD, Euro odd, NZD chef, and then odd USD and GBP CAD. So any of those, kind of, some of them aren't ready yet. Some of them are not confirmed. But on this strategy, those are the ones that I'd kind of be watching. So, and really all I'd be looking for is the breakout, the break of a trend, and the 4 hour and the 1 hour to line up. So I need a really good risk to reward ratio to make it worth taking. And for example, on this one, super slow mover, super large lot size, fairly easy trade to kind of manage, not a huge stop loss, and both time frames line up. That's the kind of thing. So that's it. But anyways, does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about tonight? Going once. Yeah, Jamie, that's kind of how I use it. So I write down a list. I haven't really used a whole bunch of simplicity. I tested it on the 4 hour and the daily for a little while, kind of came back and forth because we spent so much time scalping. But as the new year comes and everything kind of stabilizes, I'll do the 1 hour, 4 hour, kind of really small percentages, nothing major, but all I'll use is the 1 hour and the 4 hour. I won't look at any other time frame. And I'll lose. I will definitely lose some trades, but for the most part, it won't be a catastrophic loss, and most of the wins make up for the losses. So you're still at the end of the week profitable. But some weeks you only took 4 trades. Some weeks you took 8, but it's usually not more than that. Like you're talking all week long, you only took 8 trades, and some people are so over trading that it's like, it's nonstop. Then they wonder why they're not doing super well, because they're over trading and they're constantly looking, which is the problem with using stuff like the 15. If you're not scalping, the 15-minute time frame it gives you a bajillion opportunities to mess up all week long. So it becomes really addicting. But okay, I'm going to check the other chat real quick. Martin, you are welcome. Campbell, you can come hang out with us in the morning anytime. We're mostly pretty chill. And most people in there talk a lot more too. They're all very talkative. Some mornings it gets a little political. This morning got a little political. We also heard a rumor about the COVID too. It was kind of funny. It was really funny. I won't say that because I can't get away with saying that, but somebody else said it and they can get away with saying it. So needless to say, we have fun. We talk politics, we joke, we talk more advanced things. We don't always see eye to eye. We definitely have diverse points of view, which is a blessing in many ways. So, but you're more than welcome. That's awesome. I try. But okay, well, that's enough for tonight. So thank you everyone who came and hung out. Please do consider, using this in your arsenal. If nothing else, use it as a piece of evidence. So whether you like it or not, if you stick with anything long enough, you have the potential to perfect it. Now, most people come and go in relationships and jobs and weight loss, and money is no different. Business is no different. So if you stick with this and tweak it long enough to go get your batch of 50 trades, lose enough to get it right, tweak it enough to get it right, you will see success. But you have to stick with the same thing and not become a master, at nothing by skipping around so much. You only become a master if you stick with something long enough to make it work. So that's my 2 cents for tonight. I hope you guys all have an amazing, happy New Year. And for the We the People team, I will talk to you guys on Thursday morning. And for everybody else, cheers. I hope you do something a whole bunch of fun and go get your New Year's kiss. Good night, guys.
Good night, Jenny.
Good night,
Thank you,
Jenny.
Jenny.